Yo, 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 what is going on, good people? Welcome to Mose Knows, and I am your host, Mose. Today, we got an exciting show for you, filled with a lot of topic, a lot of discussion. And as you see in the title, this is a family edition. I had to go deep in the bag of tricks. I had to pull out some of the family members. I know some of you all, just like um, we have a lot of people in our family that love football, love watching football, love talking about it. And I got two of the best, man. I got two really, really good dudes in my family, people that I've grown up with, people that I've known for a long time. Love them like brothers, man. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk football. We're gonna talk some real life stuff. And then we're gonna get into the two teams that I mentioned. We're gonna get into some specifics. It's gonna be a little trash talk because that's what family do. But let me bring them right in. Let me introduce you to my cousins, Terrence Allen and the homie Devin Jones. What's going on, family? How y'all doing?
What's good,
What's
brother?
good? What's good, homie? What's good? What's good, fam?
We out here, man. Thank you for having
Yeah,
us on, brother. Support always.
Yeah,
absolutely,
man.
absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of the show, by the way.
I appreciate
Same
that. I
here.
appreciate that.
Hmm.
As you see, we got a Chiefs fan in the building. Listen, don't get mad at him. Don't try to jump through the screen and kill him right now. He wasn't. Now I could tell you from history, and Devin could back me up on this. Terrence wasn't back in the Chiefs heavy like this with all the gear until they got Mahomes. I'm just throw that out there. He, I ain't here. I listen. I didn't know for the longest time what team Terrence like. I couldn't tell you. Then they
I,
get Mahomes, and all of a sudden, it's kind of like he had a conversation with the Lord, and the Lord gave him a prophecy that the Chiefs is going to be good for a little bit. So you might as well jump on this bandwagon early, good brother.
you
L-
know,
listen. The Lord answers prayers. That's all I can tell you. like, look. Devin can tell you. People in the family can tell you. I've been a Chiefs fan a long time. I think the first time I watched the Chiefs game was 1989. I was 10 years old.
mm,
And from that point forward, I've been hooked. That's when Steve the Berg was the quarterback, and Christian Okoye and Barry Word was what was toting the rock. So that's a long time ago.
hmm
So yeah, hey, I've personally taken a lot of flack, especially being in our family, being the only fan of a certain team. Especially, I'm always getting how you from Philly, but you repping the Chiefs. You ain't never even been to Kansas City before.
sound like
I
Derek.
get I get that all the time. I get that from all the haters. But it's all love. I know that our families are predominantly Eagles, household or family or whatever. But it's all good. I root for everybody as long as y'all ain't playing the Chiefs. I'm with y'all. Now, if you playing my squad, I'm a root for destruction. That's just how it goes.
Yo, but the funny thing about that is for real, like all three of us are from Philly. We all
Yeah.
born and raised in Philly, and none of us are Eagles fans. That should tell you something about the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm gonna just leave it at that for we get killed. Dev,
Well,
what's up, bro?
What's
Now,
up?
now you know, unlike Terrence, me and you, we really kind of grew up together,
Yes,
bro.
you did.
Like Summers and Willenboro at Grandma 52 Anderson Lane, bro. We be up 9 o'clock. We be outside by 10. We wouldn't be in the house till 8, 9 o'clock when the lights came on, playing
Yep,
everything: football, basketball, baseball. So
yep.
I, so I've known for a long time. You've been a Vikings fan. Tell us about that, man. How are you from Philly, but you are a Minnesota Vikings fan? Give us that story.
Hey, man, my uncle Chris, man, y'all know who he is.
C. Jones,
He
shout
got me.
out.
I was about 6, 7 years old. He got me, and he got me at the right time because that's when we had Moss, Carter, Randall Cunningham, Robert Smith, Jake Reed. Like we had a bomb squad. That's the year we went to the championship and lost to Atlanta. And that was my first year really watching football with the Vikings. And the fact that they made it to the championship, my first year really watching it, even just sold me more. Like, okay, this team right here, Randy Moss, my favorite player of all time. Like, he's the reason why I play football myself. Like, you know how it was back growing up. Going deep every time. Like that's just how it is, man. Vikings for life, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's get into a couple of topics that we got for today. The first topic, we can start here. We don't have to spend too much time on it because I know it's still fresh and it's sad for most people. And it's not sports, but I feel like with us in the culture, Dev, especially you know what I mean, you're a killer with the pen. You're a killer with the pen game. So real quick, let's just touch on DMX. The passing of DMX, rest in peace to Dark Man X. Somebody who all of us we grew up on, those same summers that we talk about with us, playing outside, and we grew up in the church. So sorry, moms and dads and aunts and uncles. We probably should not have been listening to that type of music, but that's the culture that we grew up in. That's what we were around. That's what we heard, and he was one of the people that we listened to. So Dev, I'm gonna start with you, especially somebody who good with the pen and writing poems and writing raps and stuff like that. Like, what did DMX mean to you, bro?
Man, he meant a lot to me, man. Like, especially like that was my mom's. That's one of my mom's favorite rappers growing up. So I was always with my mom. That's when cassette tapes was popping. She had the cassette tape, throw that joint in, put it on repeat. His music meant a lot, man, for the culture, man. It's definitely like hype. It made everyone hype. The clubs was hype. Remember the movie Hardball, when the baseball movie, and they used that song as the last song when they was playing when G Baby, was that before G Baby died? That last,
I think it was after. It was like the championship game, right?
Stuff like that, man. Yeah. Just brings back memories, childhood memories, man. DMX, yeah, man. I thank him for real.
Terrence, what's your story? What's your connection to DMX, man?
Well, mine is a little bit different. I'm a little bit older than y'all. I'm 41, so DMX was like right in my wheelhouse. I mean, to me, he's like top 5 all time. I mean, some people might say something different. I say he's top 5 MCs all time in my book. I first heard DMX when I got out of boot camp and I went to my first duty station in the military. And I remember one of my homeboys picked me up from the airport to take me to my base. And the first thing I heard was the intro on "It's Dark and Hell Is Hot." And I remember I heard that and I was all like, whoa, I ain't never heard that before. I never heard of DMX before. And I went immediately and bought that CD. And that's a CD, even to this day, that you could bump from beginning to end and not skip no tracks. It's just, I mean, it was just a masterpiece. And he had so many, club bangers, so many hits. It's just crazy. It's sad, the way, that he passed, but his legacy will live on forever, regards, with music. He was just one of the greatest.
Absolutely. You think of so many things that, he touched as far as in the culture. Like, people had dirt bikes in the hood or whatever, but when Rough Riders came out, when you saw that double R on that vest, on that leather jacket or that leather vest, and you saw the dirt bikes and the 4-wheelers, like that's what made everybody in the hood want to get one. Yep. You know what I mean? Even from my point of view, I don't think pit bulls were as popular until DMX had pit bulls in the video. Now everybody want to go out and get a pit bull. You know what I'm saying? One of my friends hit me up and he was like, DMX made yelling "what" more popular than Lil Jon ever could. I feel like Lil Jon may took that from DMX and kind of put his own flavor on it. But DMX is the one that made scream "what." Like when you hear that "what," like who it came from.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, he touched so many people, and then I think, especially for us, being Christians, being men of faith. And then seeing, the way he lived out his life. And, people can bring up the struggles and things that he's had. But if you just listen to him talk, if you hear the prayers that were on his album, if you hear the prayers that he said in interviews, people are circulating those now again, just listening to what he said and the conversations that, he had with God. it does kind of give you hope. It strengthens your faith to know that we all have things that we struggle with,
Yep.
but we can always communicate with God, in
Amen.
our own
Amen.
special and unique way. We can communicate with him. We can talk to him. He talks to us. And his earthly body is no longer suffering. But hopefully, based off of what he believed, he's in a better place. So, rest in peace to DMX. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Now
Yeah.
we can get back into football. This is another kind of touchy subject. So I wanted to start with these two, and then we can get more high energy with some of the other stuff. But we can, touch on the Deshaun Watson topic a little bit. It's all over the news. More details are coming out, day by day. We still don't have the facts about the situation. And like I've said on this show, and on previous shows, when we talk about this situation, we want to be sensitive to the topic. We want to be sensitive to uh, things revolving around this nature. When it comes to violence against women, sexual assault, things of that nature. We don't want to pass judgment because we don't have all the facts. But we just want to talk about, what we kind of do know, what I guess you can say the public opinion is right now. That's up in the air. We just got news that both Nike and Beats have suspended endorsements with Deshaun Watson. So now that's hurting his pockets financially a little bit. So I want to get your thoughts and your opinions on this situation. What's happening with him right now. Where he stands as far as his NFL career. Where do the Texans stand in this particular situation? Because what started off ugly with him requesting a trade has gotten even more ugly. So, Terrence, we'll start with you, man. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. What do you see here?
Quite honestly, I don't know what to think anymore. I really don't. I mean, at first, I'm not even going to lie to you. I was one of those people that was like, this is a setup. I was like, yo, there's no way that this is legitimate. This man has not had any peep of impropriety at his entire career. Going all the way back to Clemson, you ain't heard him, take a nickel from nobody, do anything dishonest, anything, all the way up until he requested a trade, and the Texans pretty much told him, "You're not going anywhere." Then you add all the stuff with the racist culture that possibly could be with the Texans, with the owner and the inmates running the asylum, comment and all that stuff. But now that all these things have come out, like I'm like, look, I don't know if I misjudged him or maybe he misled us all, but I mean, this dude has just turned into a sexual deviant, and it's mind-boggling. It really is. Like, I didn't see any of this coming. I'm sure anybody else didn't see this coming. I mean, what's it at? Like 20, 23 women, 24 women? Like, this is on some Bill Cosby, R. Kelly stuff. I mean, and it's sad. It really is. It's really sad that a young brother like that, has basically had his entire career tarnished. This will follow him wherever he goes for the rest of his life. It won't be a pass that he thrown, a touchdown that he's thrown, a great play that he made in the playoffs. When you think of Deshaun Watson, you won't think of any of that. You will think of this now. So I just hope that justice is served, that if these things do occur, that, these women, they go ahead and get the maximum justice allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I know the NFL is going ahead and conducting its own investigation, and that all these suits are civil at this point, so there are no criminal charges pending. But I mean, it just looks bad. It just looks so bad for him. And as far as the Texans organization is concerned, I mean, their name was mud even before this. I mean, when you got, two of your players, greatest players in the franchise, say that they basically want to leave with J.J. Watt and, DeAndre Hopkins, what does that say about your organization? It's poorly ran. It's been poorly coached for the longest time. Now they're in a situation whereas you got your star quarterback, quote unquote, now going through all these issues. Now what are you going to do? So now how are you going to go ahead and put forth a good football product on the field? So it'd be interesting to see as far as, what goes forth now with the Texans and, how the rest of Deshaun Watson's career, if there is one past this point, transpires.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely on the same, thought process as you, where, I don't know what to believe. And I'm trying to take all the information that, I have right now to make an informed decision, but it's just difficult. In the beginning, I thought it was a hoax. He requested a trade. So what did the Texas organization do? They try to throw dirt on his name, to scare any potential teams that want to trade for him away. And then when
Right.
you find out that the lawyer who is representing these women in this case, he's friends with the owners of the Texans. He's actually neighbors with them.
Right.
So this is not like he doesn't know them and, he's just, representing these women and it's, in behalf of a player that plays for them. No, he's very familiar with the owners of the Texans organization. So that kind of makes you think, this don't sound good. But if you're just being biased and objective about the situation and just looking at it from every piece, then you hear, there's 21, 22 women in this suit. But then on the other side, Deshaun Watson's lawyer comes out and says, oh, well, we have 18 women who can attest to providing masseuse services to Deshaun. And he was a perfect gentleman. My question is, you have 22 women who saying he did bad and then 18 women who said he did good. Bruh, you are an NFL player. Why do you have a list of 40 massage therapists that you can reach out to that can either say yay or nay to their experience with you? Like 40 different massage therapists. If we put those numbers together, that doesn't make sense. And even if I go from my standpoint, if I was an NFL player, I'm going to find the best masseuse for me and I'm going to stick with that one person because I'm comfortable with them. They're comfortable with me. They know my body. They know how to massage certain areas that I need, especially as a football player. And I'm communicating that with them. And then I'll probably have one backup in case that person is busy. And when I try to schedule with them, they're already booked up and they're booked up maybe too far out and I need somebody in the interim. So I'll have my main person and then a backup. I'm not going to have 40 different instances with separate massage therapists. To me, that doesn't make sense. So
And
that's
all
where
female.
and all female, that
And
doesn't make
all
sense.
female.
So I'm like, some things on, one side don't add up, but things on the other side are not adding up either. It's really boggling my mind. Devin, you jump in here, man. What you think? What you got on this subject, bro?
Yeah, I'm just as shocked as Terrence. You guys, like, it's just because, especially he's like such like a humble and quiet player. So I really wasn't expecting it from him. He's really like, I've never seen him throw a tantrum or no. The only thing that I ever seen him do is request a trade, and then now all this is coming out. So I was one of those guys like, man, they trying to set him up. But all these women, man, is blowing my mind, yo. Like, it. I don't want to say it reminds me like, because I don't want to compare him on like a Darren Sharp or somebody like that. But he shocked me too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, man. I just hope that everything works out for the best on, like justice is served, like whatever. Whoever is wrong, if he did do it, but I'm hoping that he didn't. I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm just, because he's too good of a, like, you know what I mean? You're too like, you're one of the best quarterbacks. Like, why? You know what I
And
mean?
like, yeah, and like, why would you put yourself in that position? Like, you are a superstar face of a franchise quarterback. You're not Joe Schmo, number 52 on the 53-man roster. You're not on the practice squad.
Right.
You're Deshaun freaking Watson. Why do you put yourself in that type of scenario, even if this isn't true or whatever, you know, it, even if that's the case, even if it's not true, why
Mhm.
would you put yourself in that position for this to happen to you, knowing that you're going up against an organization like the Texans, who, let's just say, are the most, how would I put this? They're not the most, truthful organization, or the most, morally based organization in the NFL. So why would you put yourself in that position, whereas you got 40 people that can go ahead and speak out towards you on one particular subject? I don't know 40 people that can go ahead and speak out for me for one particular subject. I don't know if I know 40 people, like that. This dude got 40 different massage therapists. Where you get 40 different massage therapists from?
Let me ask y'all a question. Terrence, how many barbers you got?
I got one. One
Dev,
barber.
how many barbers you got?
Just one.
One.
I ain't got 40.
Don't nobody got 40 barbers, bruh. Yo, even if my main barber is booked up, I know who I'm going to as a backup. So
Yep.
I got one barber, and then I got my backup just in the event that I need a cut. I got an event that I'm going to. I may have a job interview, something. I got a big meeting or presentation at work, and I need something, but it's last minute, and my main guy can't get me. I got my backup just in that case. I don't have 40 different barbers who I can call, who I'm reaching out to on Instagram and sliding into a bar. Hey, yo, man, I need a cut. Man, can you put me on your schedule? Don't nobody. I see you, OG, my boy Joe. He's been on the show. He's a frequent contributor, co-host. He said, "Don't nobody have 40 people of nothing." That's right. You don't have 40 barbers. You don't have 40 butchers. You don't have 40 lawn care services. Nothing. So that's where it's getting muddy for me. Is the fact that there's so many opportunities where it could have went wrong. And I'm not going to quantify what he did as it's worse because of the amount of people. Because even if it was just one woman, even if he just had one masseuse and he did something to that woman, he's wrong.
Absolutely.
But it's like you said, Terrence, you got to have that social awareness. You have to have the awareness about yourself. And I don't know if I'm sure it's some NFL players, they have that invincibility factor to them where they think that they're untouchable. Or I don't know if it's sometimes they really don't understand how much reach and how much power they have as a professional athlete on the biggest stage in the sports world, to where you cannot put yourself in that type of predicament and that type of situation as many times as he has. So even if there are 18 women who say he was nothing but an upstanding gentleman, there's still 20 others who are like, that might be true for you, but that's not my reality.
Mhm.
And I can prove that it's not my reality. So, like we talked about, I hope that the truth does come out on either side. And if, he did these things that he's accused of, then I feel like it should be more than a civil suit. I feel like there should be some criminal action involved. Like I said, in previous shows, we all have children, we have daughters, we have mothers, wives, sisters, aunts, cousins. I know us. I know if anything happened to anybody in this family, all that needs to happen is a couple phone calls. I don't care if it was Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
If one of our cousins was in Houston and they called us and they said, "Hey yo, something." I told Tori the same thing. I said, "Let one of my cousins be in Houston," and she told me Deshaun Watson did something. I said, "We on the first thing to Houston. We ain't making no calls. We not putting nothing out on Instagram." And I know we just talked about Christ in the DMX segment. And I know that's not the Christian thing to do. But again, I know us.
Yes, sir.
Get Kyle on the phone, get Rick on the phone. All we got to do is make a couple calls,
Josh, real
and
quick.
we in Houston with the quickness. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So
Yeah.
For real.
if he did what he's accused of, then I hope that he sees the punishment deserving of the crime. If he didn't, um, I hope the same thing. You can't falsely accuse someone of something for a big payday or because somebody paid you off, because this is, and I'm just spitballing here, but
Yeah.
who's to say that Houston didn't slime these women a couple $1,000 to just say this?
Yeah.
you know
Able
Yeah.
to.
I
And
mean,
I
it's
sincerely and I sincerely hope that that's the case. I mean, if we talk a best case scenario, I sincerely hope that's the case. I hope that Houston went ahead and just found. I mean, because let's just be honest. Whether this is legitimate or not, you can file a civil suit anywhere. You can go down to your local courthouse, pay $50 and file a civil suit against anybody. So the fact that there's civil suits and not criminal is a big deal, because it just depends on as far as how it can go ahead and roll out. So I hope for his sake that it's just they just smeared his name. They just found, these 23 women talking about the same thing for the same person in the same place at the same time,
Mhm.
going ahead and saying, "Oh yeah, he did it," and it just comes out to be a lie. But I mean, we all have common sense. We all were raised by women with common sense. It's an old saying: if it walk like a duck and it quack like a duck, it's a duck.
So,
So
all right, fellas. Let's move on to the next topic. We had a big trade. Well, some may say it's not a big trade, but the Carolina Panthers, after my San Francisco 49ers made the biggest trade,
they did.
moving up to number 3,
y'all gonna
the
square up.
Carolina Panthers decided that it was too rich for their blood to compete. And instead, they reached out to the New York Jets, and they facilitated a trade and acquired Sam Darnold from the Jets
I don't like that.
for a few picks. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the implications of this trade for Carolina. Let's talk about the implications of the trade for the Jets. Dev, we'll start with you.
My boy is on the Panthers. He left with no bad blood. I'm gonna always have his back. And I'm talking about my man Teddy Bridgewater. Okay.
82 gloves.
Mm.
I don't appreciate it because first of all, Teddy ain't have nobody. Christian McCaffrey was hurt. He wasn't throwing. He ain't really throwing to nobody. Like he didn't get protected like how he should have. Give him another shot. Like why you gonna replace him with Sam Darnold of all people? Like you know what I mean. But maybe Darnold is good. He just was on the wrong team. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe he might be another Alex Smith. He just needed like a couple years to get it together. I don't know but I just don't like how my boy Teddy being treated out there, man. But it is what it is, I guess. He needs to just come back to Minnesota. We're looking for a backup, because we don't even know about Kirk right now. So, that's just how I feel. I didn't really want to get rid of him in the first place. He should still be with us. You know what I mean? But
Facts.
I just don't like how he's being. They didn't give him a chance really. But hey, they paid him, so hey, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that because he only had 1 year in that system
One
under new head coach Matt Rule,
with no
and
McCaffrey,
it was a shortened year. So
right?
you have a brand new head coach coming in, a new quarterback coming in. He's got to learn the system. Um, your offensive line wasn't really that good last year. Christian McCaffrey, like you said, was hurt. You had no tight end to work the middle of the field. That was a knock against you. And your defense wasn't as strong as it has been in the past couple of years because no Luke Kuechly, no Thomas Davis. Um, I love Brian Burns. Brian Burns is amazing. But when defenses know, listen, this is the only guy we have to stop. If we can, stop him in the pass rush and not have him affect what we do, then I think we'll be able to move the ball pretty good on this particular team. They lost their corner, James Bradbury. He went over to the Giants. I see Pastor John in the comments talking about his Giants. James Bradbury went over to the Giants, and he actually had a good season. I think he was a Pro Bowler this year. So they lost a lot of pieces on that team. So with everything how it was stacked against Teddy, why would you look to replace him? Now, I can understand from a business standpoint, you get a young guy in Sam Darnold who's still only 22 years old. I think he's younger than Joe Burrow. So he has more experience in the league and he's younger. He's still on a rookie contract, because he's on his second team and because it didn't go so well with the Jets. When it's time to renew his contract, you won't have to pay him top dollar. You won't be resetting the quarterback market. So from a business standpoint, I get it. From a talent standpoint, I can understand it. You see the potential in Sam Darnold, and what people trying to say in Sam Darnold's defense is he had Adam Gase. And if you look at Adam Gase, you can kind of compare Adam Gase to Jeff Fisher. He doesn't do well with quarterbacks. He's not a builder up of quarterbacks. He doesn't do things, that can properly elevate and allow his quarterback to excel, right? Adam Gase was the problem. Unless you're Peyton Manning. I think that Peyton Manning is what elevated Adam Gase, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
So that is what people say in argument for Sam Darnold. But Terrence, what do you think? Do you think because of this trade, this automatically makes Sam Darnold QB1? Do you think Teddy stays and there's a quarterback competition? And because Teddy got, a little bit of fire under his behind right now, he comes in because he already knows the system. He's been in it for a year and he has had another full offseason to kind of go over it, to delve and let it sit with him a little bit. You think we can have a QB competition on our hands? What you thinking in this situation?
You know who Teddy Bridgewater reminds me of? And y'all probably, I don't know if y'all ever thought of this or whatever. He's the Black Alex Smith.
Ooh, okay.
He is the Black Alex Smith. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Go all the way back to when he was with the Vikings. It's always, wherever he goes, he always is being supplanted by someone. It's either due to injury or it's due to a trade. Every team he's been on, it's the same thing, just like Alex Smith. The only difference is Alex Smith got lucky and went under Andy Reid and was able to go ahead and evolve his game to go ahead and become a top 15 quarterback. I don't think that Teddy Bridgewater is going to get that opportunity. I hope it's a quarterback competition, but something tells me that either by draft day, they're going to move Bridgewater. Now, where they move him to, I don't know. But I just don't see why you would make this move and then just say, oh, we're going to go ahead and have as far as a quarterback competition. No, you're not going to do that. You went ahead and traded draft assets for a reason. When you go ahead and you trade picks, multiple picks, for a quarterback, you intend for him to play. You don't intend for him that if he gets beat out by the quarterback that's there, then, oh, well, he'll just sit on the bench. That don't happen that much anymore. So Sam Darnold possibly is going to be a starter, and Teddy Bridgewater is probably going to go ahead and be moved somewhere else. As for now, with Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina played the Chiefs in Arrowhead this year. It was actually a good game, and I believe it went into overtime, if I'm not mistaken. And I watched Teddy Bridgewater. He balled out. And that's with Christian McCaffrey. I think he got hurt like the first half. But Teddy Bridgewater balled out. He threw for over 300 yards. I think he had 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. So I just don't understand where this preconceived notion that Teddy Bridgewater can't play, or that he can't play to the level of being as far as a dedicated franchise starting quarterback. I don't know where that comes from, but unfortunately, that's the narrative for him now. Quickly about Sam Darnold. I've never liked Sam Darnold. I didn't like Sam Darnold at USC. I didn't think he was that great. He shouldn't have been as far as drafted where he was, but I understand the quarterback market, and if you're semi good in college at quarterback and you put up okay numbers, it's a good chance you're going to be drafted in the first round. If you perceive to have first round talent, I've never liked Sam Darnold, so we'll see, how it goes, with him. Maybe he needs a change of scenery, whereas he can go ahead and maybe unlock that potential. But I just think it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah. Joe in the comments is saying the Panthers gave Teddy permission to seek a trade. They definitely did. I think he's weighing his options. Does he want to seek a trade, or does he want to stay in Carolina? And hindsight is 2020, right? We can always say that maybe we could have made a better decision. And when you talked about, Teddy possibly going somewhere else, I had an idea, and it just popped in my head, and that's why I brought up hindsight. Now, he could have decided to stay in New Orleans, but I think he moved because he wanted to be a starting quarterback, and there was no definitive timeline as to when Drew Brees was going to hang it up.
Right.
But now Drew Brees is gone. Drew Brees is retired. He's no longer in New Orleans. In New Orleans, and they might like them, but I'm just speaking for myself, have the option of Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. Now, Teddy already knows the system, and you talked about Alex Smith having gone and been with Andy Reid to help him evolve his game. Why wouldn't Teddy want to go back to New Orleans? Because I think he can easily beat out both Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill because he already knows the system, and allow his game to continue to evolve under a guy like Sean Payton. What do y'all think about that option?
I absolutely think that that's a fantastic place for him to go. I mean, if Teddy Two Gloves can't beat out Jameis Crab Legs Winston and Tim Tebow 2.0, then I don't know what you. I don't know that he just need to hang it up and go do real estate investment, or I don't know. If he can't beat them two, if he can't beat Crab Legs and Tim Tebow 2.0, then what are you doing? So I think that would be a perfect place for him. Another place that be good, that be good fit is Pittsburgh. I think that with Roethlisberger, or like I call the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger, going to be quarterbacking, for Pittsburgh this year, so who knows what you're going to get with that. I think it's absolutely a good idea to have him back up Ben, and then go ahead and, when Ben eventually, goes down, go ahead and have Teddy Bridgewater go ahead and start. I mean, it can't be no worse than Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. So, so thought. But I do like, as far as Marcus's your first thought with going back to New Orleans. I think that'll be a good spot for him. I hope that actually does happen for him.
What you think, Dale?
Man, Teddy I just think that they should have just gave Teddy another, just try again this year. Just give him another chance. Because look at Sam Darnold. How long has he been on the Jets? 2 years?
I think either 2 or 3 years, something like that.
3 years.
The Jets put 3 years up with Darnold, you know what I'm saying? But then the Panthers don't want 1 year, especially with COVID, for Teddy. I mean, that's not right, bro. And Teddy's not a bad quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. He did right by us in Minnesota. If he never would have got hurt, he would still be our quarterback. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? So I wish him the best, man. I just hope wherever he go, he can ball out and show everybody. Like Alex Smith showed everybody. But like you said, Terrence, he might not be in a position with a good quarterback coach. So we'll have to just see, man. I wish him the best. Definitely.
Absolutely.
True. All right. Next topic. More of a lighthearted topic. Devin is one of your arch nemesis. Number 12 for your division rival, Green Bay Packers. He's kind of stepped into another realm of entertainment. He stepped off the football field and onto the Jeopardy stage. And the internet has gone crazy. Before me and Terrence before we got on, we were talking about the clip that came out with the contestant in Final Jeopardy who asked the question, whose decision was it to kick the field goal in the playoff game last year that more than likely cost the Packers that win in a spot in the Super Bowl. But let's talk about Aaron Rodgers' appearance on Jeopardy. What do we think about that as his second career beyond football?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know, man. But look, at least that's a sign that I know that he's talking retirement soon because I'm tired of him, man. You know, he's in my division. I think we can handle Jordan Love. That's going to be their new quarterback. Yeah, that's light work. So I'm tired of him, man. We had to deal with Favre. Now we got to deal with Rodgers. I don't think we're gonna have to deal with. I don't think we gotta worry about Jordan Love, but yeah, I support it. Go for it. If you want to retire next year, go ahead. You know, I just know that it was definitely. I could see him doing that though. He fit in with that.
I don't know. A lot of people loved him on it. Me personally, I didn't. I thought and I mean, you see it in his interviews. I think Aaron Rodgers is very dry.
Yeah.
Very, very dry and just monotone. It's just very dry and real monotone. And I think the only point of levity, and I didn't see the entire episode, but I think the only point of real levity and where you see him doing something a little bit different and giving us some emotion was when the contestant asked that question or he posed that question for Final Jeopardy, and Aaron got a real good laugh about that. And, he was like, that's a very good question. But other than that, I think he's real dry and real monotone. Obviously he's not going to touch anything that Alex Trebek did. He's a legend. And what he did for Jeopardy was Alex Trebek made himself and Jeopardy a household name. So he's never going to top or come anywhere close to that. And I don't think you need somebody who's over the top animated with too much personality. But I just my personal opinion, I felt like he was a little dry. What you think, Terrence?
I mean, I didn't think he was that bad. You are right. Aaron Rodgers has a real dry wit to him. But he's petty. So those type of things could go ahead and work with being as far as a Jeopardy host. I could see the potential there. It may, maybe as time passes and he gets more episodes under his belt. Because if I'm not mistaken, I thought I heard that he possibly was in the running after all these guest hosts. Because if I'm not mistaken, supposed to be they're going to all these guest hosts and then they're going to make a decision on who's going to be the permanent coach. I'm sorry, not coach, the permanent host of Jeopardy. And I thought that Aaron Rodgers was in the talk of that when he ever retires to do that and that he wanted to do that. So, I mean, he's not horrible at it, but he definitely has a wit that, if you're not used to, then, it's not really going to fit, especially with an icon like Alex Trebek. And if you go ahead and compare that to Aaron Rodgers, that really is not going to fit. But, I mean, we'll see. I'm willing to give him a chance. I love Jeopardy. I watch Jeopardy every day. And, I actually, long time ago, tried out for Jeopardy. And I made as far as I made the semifinals to go ahead to be on the show. But I had to go on deployment. They moved our deployment date up and I had to leave. So I was never able to go ahead and, finish the testing. But I think that he could possibly go ahead and do it. I'm willing to give him a chance.
Oh, wow. Look, you learn something new every day. You a trivia buff, Terrence?
Oh, huge trivia buff. Movies.
I didn't know that.
I like any. I told my wife, any useless facts that you want answers to. I pretty much have them. I love useless facts. I love to read. I love, especially like pop trivia, movie trivia. Psh, I got it.
So basically, what you telling me is you know all the foods that start with the letter Q.
All the foods that start with the letter Q, and that if I say, and that's outside of White Man Can't Jump. I knew as far as some of those even before that movie.
Oh man! All right, let's move on. I put Joe's comment up there because he texted me yelling at me, so I don't want to get into a fight. He kind of big. He pick up weights and he put them down. Last topic before we go into y'all specific teams. The proposed jersey number changes. And it's looking like the NFL it was actually leaning towards voting to approve relaxing restrictions on jersey numbers. And I don't know if you guys have seen some of the proposed jersey numbers, but some of the NFL players can kind of go back to their college jersey numbers. In college, you don't have restrictions. So instead of Derrick Henry wearing 22, he can go back to wearing just number 2. Your boy JJ, Justin Jefferson, he can go move from 18 and go back to wearing the number 2 like he did at LSU. You got, a bunch of other guys. They showed Jalen Ramsey going back to his number 8 that he wore at Florida State. So, running backs, receivers, and corners can go to single digit numbers if they want to. George Kittle for the 49ers, he wants to switch to number 11. So, tell me what y'all think about this. Are we getting too much of a college feel in the NFL? First we have, them bringing, things like the Wildcat and, pistol formations. And then we have the, college coaches coming in, bringing that spread offense, that is widely run in college, but they're bringing that over to the NFL. Now we got these jersey number changes. Are we getting too much of a college feel for the NFL game? Or do you think it's a good idea to allow the players to express themselves the way they want to and not be restricted to certain numbers?
Yeah, I think, I'm for it. It's going to be definitely weird looking at it at first, like seeing a number 2 run the ball or catch the ball. But, right now, you just got to keep up with the new times. Everything's changing, even the NFL. So it's just like it's time for the new. And with the new, man, that's all. Like, I'm a fan for it. I'm all for it.
I'm kind of the opposite. I'm kind of old school. I like as far as the numbers, as far as where they are now. Now I don't mind small changes, but I just can't see myself looking at, an offensive lineman with number 99 on. That just it just seems wrong. It just seems off. Seeing a safety wearing number 5. It just don't like Tyrann Mathieu is talking about changing from 32 to 5. I don't like that. That just don't sit right with me. I think they could go ahead and loosen up some of the restrictions on it, but I'm not for, just you could go ahead and pick whatever number you want. So what you gonna have next? Quarterbacks wearing number 0? Like that ain't gonna work. People gonna go ahead and
quarterback.
So so here's what the rule is. So quarterbacks, they would stay between jerseys numbers 1 and 19.
Okay.
Wide receivers could wear 1 through 49 and then 80 through 89. Same thing for running back, same thing for tight ends. So they could wear anything 1 through 49 or 80 through 89. Defensive back could wear anything from 1 to 49. Linebackers could wear anything from 1 to 50, 1 to 59, excuse me, and then 90 to 99. You won't see an offensive lineman with 99. Offensive linemen are restricted from 50 to 79.
Okay.
And then you won't see a defensive lineman in a single jersey. Now that I don't like, because I'm a defensive lineman and I would be mad if I couldn't wear 15. I know it would be
Right.
weird to see a defensive lineman wear number 15, but I'd be mad if I couldn't wear 15. But defensive linemen can wear 50 to 79 and then 90 to 99. So basically, this is discrimination against the big fellas because they can't
Yep.
wear no cool numbers. This is mainly
Yep.
for the skill position players that everybody loves. So quarterbacks are pretty much the same, but wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, defensive backs, and linebackers would be the position groups that this would affect the most.
So you have a wide receiver wearing number 43. Like that.
You could. You
Like that.
could.
I wouldn't even give him the ball. I wouldn't even give him the ball. That's it.
I think the number 43 is ugly. It don't matter who wearing it. I don't care if it's a running back, a fullback, a tight end, or a safety. It's certain numbers that just don't look good on a jersey, and 43 is one of them. So unless it's like sentimental, unless it like his great granddaddy wore it back in the days where the helmets was leather.
Right.
Like unless it's something like that where it's like sentimental, it's like a family number. I don't see any wide receiver in the 40s, but I definitely could see them in the single digit numbers. They got Justin Jefferson wearing number 2. They got CeeDee Lamb wearing number 2 again. Deebo Samuel for the 49ers. He wants to change from 11 back to 1. I mean, not 11. What is he? 19? He's 19 right now. He wants to go back to wearing number 1 like he did in college. Wide receivers with the single number, I think, is cool.
That's not bad.
It was traditional that they was in the 80s. They kind of, relaxed it and let them go down to the teens so they could wear 18, 17. And I feel like those numbers look good on wide receivers. 18, 17, 15, 14, 11, 10. They look good on receivers. But I also think the single digit numbers look good on them because they the skill position players. They do a lot of the moving, the shaking. They doing the cut, and they going up, catching the ball at the high point. So, I don't mind it for that. I think the only running back that I want to see in single digit numbers is Derrick Henry, just because Derrick Henry is a beast. And if I ever see him in person, I'm not going to fight him unless y'all with me because that's a big dude. That's a big dude. So seeing him in number 2 probably be cool. Go back to his Alabama days. But I think it'll be really interesting to see the creativity of the players. Do they go back to their college number? Do they choose another number altogether that they may have wanted to wear, but say they couldn't wear because there was an upperclassman, who had it above them and, maybe they came out of the draft early. So that'll be fun to see what they choose to do with that. All right. We are an hour in. This might go a little bit longer than anticipated, but I'm with family. I'm talking with y'all, so it don't even matter to me right now. Now we're gonna go into some team specific stuff. I got y'all on here for that reason to talk Vikings. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about the Chiefs, David. I apologize if we have to waste time talking about them, but we do. We have Terrence on here, and we have to be cognizant of his time and of all of our guests. So I guess we'll spend some time talking about the Chiefs too. But we'll start with the Vikings, mainly because I didn't get a chance to get to the Chiefs yet. But over at Mose Knows on YouTube, for those of you who are following, who are subscribed, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate all the support that I'm getting over there. But episode 14 was the mock draft that I did for the Minnesota Vikings. Devin, I think you got a chance to take a look at it. I'll go over real quick a couple of the picks that I made for the Vikings. So in the first round, we took Christian Darrisaw. So he's going to come in and be an offensive tackle. Probably slide him into the left tackle spot. And he was a day 1 starter. In the second round, I took guard Josh Myers out of Ohio State, fortifying that offensive line. In the third round, pick number 90, took one of my favorite players in the draft, safety Hamza Nasirladeen out of Florida State. At pick 119, I took Victor Dimukeji, edge rusher out of Duke. At 125, I took Trey Sermon out of Ohio State, running back. At 134, I took wide receiver Seth Williams out of Auburn. At 143, I got you defensive tackle Darius Stills out of West Virginia. At 157, I grabbed you Caden Stearns, safety out of Texas. At 168, I took Anthony Schwartz, another wide receiver out of Auburn, who ran like a 4.27 or something like that. And then at 199, I took Josh Kando, edge rusher out of Florida State. So based off of what you know from your team, positions you would like to see them draft, how do you think I did? What players do you like? What players do you not like? What do you want to see your Vikings do at the end of April in the 2021 NFL draft?
Well, the one thing that I can say is we definitely kind of messed up by trading our second pick because remember it went from 1 to 3. We traded our second round pick to Jacksonville for that edge rusher. What's his name?
Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah, and then we wound up. Did we just release him or did we trade him to somewhere else?
I think he got traded to Baltimore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we wound up getting like a fourth or something out of that. So that's the only thing that screwed us. But as far as first round, what I want, let me tell you what I want and then tell you what the Vikings need.
Yeah, you can give me that.
I'll tell you. If honestly, if Surtain, I know Surtain not going to be at 14. There's no way he can be there because that's our pick. We got 14th pick. Or go 1998 route and throw everybody off and grab Chase if he out there. You know what I'm saying? Because we got Thielen, then we got Jefferson. We don't have nobody in the slot anymore, really. So if Chase is still out there, I would get him too, even though he's not really much of a need. Now, what the Vikings need, I can tell you, is we need to go offensive line. So when you drafted the tackle, I'm like, okay, yeah, we do need that. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with the picks. We definitely need a tackle because Dalvin Cook, he's a monster, but he can do even better with the right protection. So I'm definitely hoping that we get like a good tackle. But look, if Chase is on that board, I would take him. I'll take him. Because I have a feeling he's gonna be there. I don't know why. I just got a weird feeling. I don't know. So
you think Jamar Chase gonna be there at 14?
I think so,
Ooh.
man. Because all right, if he does get drafted to a team, it will be Cincinnati. Like I can see them grabbing him. You know what I'm saying? Especially he already was with Burrow, so they already got the connection. That would be crazy too if they did that. But I don't know, man. I'm hoping he there because I'm just tired. I'm just ready to be like you, Terrence, man. I'm trying. I need to see the Vikings win one, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 30, bro. I've been a Vikings fan since I was 7, so 23 years of nothing. So at that time, I'm ready. I'm ready to do whatever I got to take to win.
I feel you.
I can dig that. I can dig that. So that's why I went. Yeah. That's why I went Seth Williams at 134. So he's not an elite wide receiver, but you mentioned it. The highest Jamar Chase is off the board is 5 at Cincinnati. If he's not off the board at 5 at Cincinnati, he could be off the board at 6 to Miami. If he's not off the board at 6 to Miami, then he's going off the board at 7 to Detroit. If he's not off the board at 7 to Detroit, then he's probably off the board at 12 to Philly. And this is if Philly does the right thing, which I don't expect them to do. Sorry, Eagles fans. You're going to get a lot of hate from us here. But that's if Philly does the right thing. If Jamar Chase is on the board and Philly doesn't take him after swinging and missing on Jalen Reagor last year, when they could have had Justin Jefferson, they said something like in the past 2 or 3 drafts, the Eagles could have had Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf. They could have drafted both of them, and their wide receiver room would have DK Metcalf on one side and Justin Jefferson on the other side. That's what Philly could have had,
Destruction.
but they don't.
But they don't.
But they don't. So I don't see I don't see Jamar Chase falling to 14. If that's a guy that y'all want and you want to pair him with Justin Jefferson again, y'all likely gonna have to trade up to do so. Now y'all have the picks to do it, but do you want to trade up that far for a wide receiver when you have Justin Jefferson, who is your clear-cut number one, and then you have Adam Thielen? And what I was thinking when I went Seth Williams at 134, yeah, he's not one of the top-tier wide receivers, but you can either put Thielen in the slot and have a crafty veteran, or you could put Seth Williams in the slot and have a young, big-body wide receiver in the slot, because Seth Williams is like 6'2", 6'3", about 220, 225. He doesn't offer you a lot of speed, but neither does Thielen. What he does offer you is a big body that can take advantage of smaller nickel corners, who can take advantage of slower, non-athletic linebackers. He gives you that presence over the middle, especially now because you lose Kyle Rudolph. You know, I know they have Irv Smith, and he's probably going to take over that number one tight end spot. But I thought Irv Smith was going to step in and assume more reps and more catches and kind of take over that tight end position a little bit sooner than he has. So touch on that real quick. What have you seen from Irv Smith with Kyle Rudolph going? Do you trust him as your number one tight end? Do you want to see more from him? Do you think you've seen enough? What's your view on Irv?
I like him. You know, right now he's okay. Like he's playing like average, a little above average. Now he's not. You know, when we played the Saints and when Kirk threw the fade to Rudolph in the end zone, he's not that worthy. Like Kirk wouldn't have threw it to Irv Smith. I wouldn't have threw it to Irv Smith. I would have threw it to Rudolph. So he's not on that status yet. He's not on Rudolph's status, but I think this year he is either he got to show me something, or we're gonna have to look something. You know, we're gonna have to move on. Like not move on, but I like him as a player, but he can do more. I know he's better than where he is, but he didn't have a lot of time to shine because he's behind Rudolph. So now that he's the number one guy, he's gonna have to show out. He got the speed that's for a tight end. Rudolph didn't have the speed. Rudolph had the hands. Now we got Irv Smith. He got hands and he got speed. So we should see, man. You know, I'm excited for this year, man. There's a lot of players that got to step up, man, for real.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I like him.
The one thing the Eagles did do was sign free agent safety Anthony Harris. So he's no longer in Minnesota. He's over in Philly. I'm going to help them on their back end. With my third round pick, number 90, I took Hamza Nasirladeen out of Florida State. And in my video, what I mentioned about Hamza is if you just watch the tape, he reminds me a lot of a guy like Cam Chancellor. One of the things that, people are going to mention about him is his lack of speed. But I said in the video too, if you just put on the tape and watch Hamza play, he's always where the ball is. He's always where the ball is. He has great instincts. He's great at diagnosing plays, which helps him be in the position to make the play where he's always around the ball. He has great hands. You know, if he gets his hands on the ball, he's going to intercept it. He's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to lay the boom. And I think if there's any safety he can learn from as far as understanding the game and being able to play on this level without having elite speed, is somebody I was just about to say, what's just the other safety's name?
Harrison Smith.
Harrison Smith. Thank you. It just escaped me. If he can learn from anybody about how to play in the NFL without having elite speed, it would be Harrison Smith. And let's be real. Harrison Smith is what, 31, 32, maybe a little bit older than that. So he's more likely
30.
on, the back end of his career. So you get a guy like Hamza to come in to learn from Harrison Smith and develop his game even more as a safety. I think that could be a big benefit, on that defense, especially that secondary for your Vikings. And you had mentioned, drafting somebody like Patrick Surtain. The reason why I didn't take a corner is because y'all got a lot of corners. Now, one of y'all corners just got in a little bit of trouble. So y'all down one. Who was that? Was that
Gladney,
Gladney?
right?
That was Jeff Gladney. He got into some legal trouble. So I don't think he'll be back. But if you look at all the other corners that you have, you got a lot of young guys. Who Mike Hughes, one of them.
Mackenzie Alexander.
Rookie? He came back.
Yeah, we got him back.
Okay. Who's the rookie who did well last year? Yes. He played really well last year. So I think you guys got a lot of young corners that just need to, step up and develop their game. Say that again.
And we got Pat Peterson. We got
Pat Peterson.
Right. Oh, you're right. Y'all just signed P2.
Forgot about
P2. Y'all just signed P2. I forgot about that. So I think y'all secondary is really good. So I think if you focus on fortifying that offensive line, making sure you can keep Kirk protected, making sure you can open up holes for Dalvin Cook, I think y'all could be in a good spot, man. Y'all got a division that's winnable because we know during the regular season the Packers are great, but when they get into the playoffs, it's up in the air. It's 50-50. They are beatable in the playoffs, even at Lambeau. So, that's the option that we got there. All right, man. Let's shift over to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl losers. Man. The Super Bowl losers. Oh man, I'm a fan of Tom Brady, but I'm sick of seeing him win. But I tell you what, man, I never prayed harder for Tom Brady to be successful at anything than dethroning y'all. I needed that to happen. And like you said earlier, Terrence, the Lord answers prayer, brother. So y'all got dethroned. And then y'all made a couple of moves this offseason, a couple of shocking moves. 2 moves that happened on the same day. Both starting tackles, Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher, cut. Now understand why. The Chiefs were in a predicament where the cap space wasn't looking good. And obviously because of, COVID-19, the salary cap got reduced to $185 million, and the Chiefs were already over that. So unfortunately, there were going to have to be some cap casualties to get them under that 185 number. And then you got to think about if there were free agents that they wanted to sign. You got to think about, having money set aside for the incoming draft class. So they had to do all of those things to make sure that financially they were in the green.
Right.
But talk to me, like, how did you feel getting that news that both your starting left and right tackle had been released?
Well, I was kind of shocked. I was shocked at the fact that Mitchell Schwartz was cut, because the reports were, and matter of fact, Brett Veach, who's the GM of the Chiefs, a couple of days prior had went on a press conference saying that Mitchell Schwartz was ahead of schedule regarding as far as his back, and that Eric Fisher possibly could go ahead and be back by a little bit after training camp. Now, I'm not a doctor, but for big men, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, the worst injury you can have is a back injury. Those don't heal. You have a back injury, those don't go away. So I kind of knew that Mitchell Schwartz might get cut, but when Eric Fisher got cut on the same day, I'm like, whoa, that's kind of saying something. Now, it is a possibility that we can bring Eric Fisher back later on in the year once his once his injury heals and he's able to play. If no one else signs him, we can go ahead and re-sign him and bring him back. Which I'm thinking is like Plan B for us because right now we do not have a left tackle at all, and the draft is like 3 weeks away, and we don't have a left tackle, which is really, really super concerning for me. That makes me nervous. But as far as them two, I was definitely shocked. I'm trusting that we have a plan, that Brett Veach and Andy Reid has a plan. But right now, is the closer it gets to draft time, the more nervous I'm becoming because I don't know too many first round picks that are offensive linemen that produce day one. There are a couple, but there aren't that many. Usually offensive linemen need at least 1 to 2 years to develop before they could become as far as, anchors on the line. And you're talking about possibly throwing a rookie out there week one, and we got the $500 million man, that's on the center. We can't have that. We can't have as far as, guys that aren't proven to go ahead and protect the blind side of 15. So I'm a little
And you got to look
nervous.
at who's in your division too.
Yeah, we got
The Raiders
headhunters.
just the Raiders just signed Yannick Ngakoue, so he's coming. And all that's going to do is help Cleveland Farrell and Max Crosby up their level of play. The Chargers got Nick's big brother, Joey Bosa, and we already know he's a problem. And the Broncos still got Von Miller coming off the edge. And if Bradley Chubb come back healthy, so there's about 5 or 6 tackles that could potentially be first round picks. And depending on how the board shakes out, one of them might slip into the second round just because other teams aren't in need of tackle. Do you think, I know you said you're nervous, but obviously if nothing else happens up into the draft, do you think that forces the Chiefs at pick 31 to take one of these rookie tackles like a Tevin Jenkins if he falls, or a Jalen Mayfield, or a Sam Cosmi out of Texas, or a Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame? Do you think that forces them to draft a tackle? Because y'all was trying to steal my man Trent Williams. See, y'all slick. Y'all don't like us. Y'all cheated us in the Super Bowl. Yes, I said it. Y'all cheated us. And then y'all tried to cry wolf when y'all wasn't getting calls against the Bucks. And then y'all tried to snake us for my man Trent Williams. Come on, man. The rich trying to get rid. He was this close too. He was this close to going, man.
Close. Once I read that, I was like, oh. He was that close.
Terrence, is it true y'all almost had Juju Smith too, right? He was y'all were one of the people that wanted him.
That close. He was that close to signing. But I think the reason why Juju didn't sign was because he knows he's option 3, in our offense. Tyreek is option 1, Travis Kelce is option 2, and you can maybe flip those however, depending on how the defense plays. So if Juju plays primarily in the slot, he's going to be third option. I think he was looking at it as like, well, I would rather be option number 1 in Pittsburgh versus option number 3 in Kansas City. So once it was put like that, I'm like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Because I'm like, because why would you not choose us? Also, Baltimore offered him they offered him more cash than we did. They offered him I'm like, you didn't go to Baltimore or Kansas City and you went back to Pittsburgh, I think for like 1 year,
That's
$7.5 million. But that makes a little bit more sense in regards to why he goes back. I mean, he would rather be the number 1 option than the number 3 option. I mean, the number 3 option on our team, you getting 45 catches, 500-600 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns max. For as you get double that in Pittsburgh as the number 1 option. So I get why that happened. But as far as Trent Williams is concerned, I thought we had him. I was literally like, please, if we get Trent Williams, all of our offensive issues are solved. Because left tackle is the only position that I'm really concerned about. I mean, we got Joe Tooney, That's going to be as far as our left guard. We signed as far as the center from the Rams, who was an okay center. Center don't got to be spectacular. He just got to be solid. LDT, Laurent Duvernay Tardif, is coming back, from the opt-out year for COVID. And the right tackle is probably going to be Lucas Niang, who he also opted out via COVID, but when he played his last year with TCU, Chase Young used to say he used to give him fits, and he was the only right tackle that would ever go ahead and body him up. So all those positions I'm kind of semi-confident in, except that left tackle position. I just hope that, maybe we can go over and get one of those guys, in the draft. Maybe we could go ahead and package some picks and move up to go ahead and get a tackle. But right now, those look like the only options. It's either that or get like a Villanueva or it's the guy they used to play for the Seahawks, the Bitcoin guy. That's a left tackle. Or Russell Okung. Those pretty much are the options right now as far as left tackle. You either get one of those used up dudes or go ahead and draft one in the first round. So we'll see.
That's a good option. I actually didn't think of that. I like Villanueva there. He stays in the AFC, comes from Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, if you start, multiple years, you got to have, the football acumen. You got to have, the right mindset. Pittsburgh is one of them organizations where, they usually don't play around. And, if you're on the field as a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're about your business. So I think him coming over, bringing that level of professionalism, bringing that work ethic, I think he would fit well in that room. That's a good option. What are some other position groups that you think the Chiefs should address in the draft? I know one off the top of the head for me, but let me see your thought process as the Chiefs fan, as our resident Chiefs GM.
Edge rusher. I mean, right now we got Frank Clark. That's it. I mean, we don't have an edge rusher on the opposite side of Frank Clark. Everybody goes to Frank Clark's side, basically gets shut down on the run games. What do? They run to the other side, and I think we had Tano Passanio there, and he's trash. I think right now he went to the Saints. So right now, we need an edge rusher. Now, I'm willing to go ahead and get an edge rusher in the first round and go ahead and put him, starting, week 1, week 2, whatever. I'm a little bit less hesitant to do that than I am to do a left tackle starting day 1. So edge rusher, definitely. I would love to go ahead and pick one up in the draft. Third position is a tie for me, wide receiver and or corner. Wide receiver, like we tried to go get Juju. He turned us down. We tried to go get T.Y. Hilton. He turned us down. There's talks that we might go ahead and try to do a trade for Anthony Miller from Chicago. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. But right now, you got Tyreek on one side, and then you got DeMarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle on the other. And I ain't too sold on either one of those. And I'm definitely not sold.
What about Mecole? I don't hear Mecole's name. Young Hardman.
There's a reason why. that you don't hear,
what's that reason? What's that reason? Give us insight. What's that reason we're not hearing Mecole Hardman name not floating around as, picking up the slack left by Sammy Watkins and, the organization looking outward, to fill that void instead of looking at, a young guy that they drafted with 4.2 speed and Mecole Hardman. What's up?
Because Mecole Hardman is a gadget player. He's a one-trick pony right now. All he knows is to run a 9 route and a 7 route. That's it. That's all he does. He is horrible in and out of his cuts. He can't break down routes. And he has all of these mental lapses. When we do give him opportunity, he either drops the ball, fumbles the ball, or does a stupid play. And the crazy part about it is when you were talking about DK Metcalf, we could have picked DK Metcalf in that draft, but we picked Mecole Hardman instead of DK Metcalf. So every time I see DK Metcalf, my son's a Seahawks fan, So every time I see DK Metcalf running up and down the field, mossing people, I just shake my head like, man, that could have been us. But I mean,
Could have been.
could have been. But I mean, if McCole Hartman could go ahead and get his stuff together and do the things that need to be done in order to be a great number two receiver or even a solid number two receiver, he would be that. But until he learns those little nuances, getting in and out of his breaks, in and out of his cuts, not dropping the ball, not fumbling the ball, missing blocks, missing assignments. As long as if he wipes those out, then yeah, he'll be fine. But until then, I don't know if Andy Reid's going to go ahead and put too much more on his plate than every now and then being on kick returns and, maybe the end around, once in a while to go ahead and catch a defense napping because he does have 4 speed.
I cool. I'm cool on that. That makes sense. I'm cool with the edge rusher, wide receiver, cornerback. But one of the position groups that I don't like for y'all, and if these was the players in this room for my team, I would be screaming to get an upgrade. I do not like your linebacker group. And I think, especially after watching what Tampa did in the Super Bowl with Devin White and Levante David, I think, for me, a position of need to upgrade that defense and at least give you a player at every level, right? You got Frank Clark and Chris. What's his name? Chris Jones. Chris Jones on your front, right?
Now, we did go ahead and get the tackle from the Seahawks. Jaron Reed.
Okay, so look, you put Jaron Reed in between Chris Jones and Frank Clark. So your front four is solid.
Mm-hmm.
You got Tyrann Mathieu, on the back end. Juan Thornhill, if he can stay healthy, he's a solid young player. L'Jarius Sneed stepped up and assumed the role of a starting corner. Y'all secondary is pretty solid. You can upgrade, of course, but I like the secondary. Your front, if you add an edge rusher, y'all solid. That linebacker core is the weakest link to me on that defensive end. Talk to me about the linebackers and talk to me about, what you might see as an upgrade for that unit.
Well, as far as linebackers are concerned, I mean, we had Anthony Hitchens, and before he went to Jacksonville, it was I forgot his name, Damian Wilson. Damian Wilson with the Jacksonville. So now we're gonna probably put in the guy that we drafted last year, Willie Gay Jr., to go ahead and be the replacement for Damian Wilson. I mean, Anthony Hitchens is going to be Anthony Hitchens. I mean, he's a downhill thumper. He'll go ahead and lay you out. They call him the hitman for that reason. That's just what he does. He sucks at coverage. If you ask him to cover, that's not going to be as far as what you're looking for. Especially if you got a back running an angle route. If you got someone running in the flat and you want him to go ahead and be one-on-one, that's asking for trouble. Now, Willie Gay Jr. is a good cover linebacker. The only thing about him is that he's young. So he needs more time to develop. So maybe being under now that he's going to be the starting Will, I believe. So he will be learning under Anthony Hitchens, which will go ahead and help him out some. I would love to go ahead and get a linebacker. Like if Micah Parsons just happened to go ahead and fall down to pick number 31, that would be awesome. But that's never going to happen. Outside of him, I don't really know too many linebackers that'll be impactful day one. But I'm sure there are. You can probably go ahead and find a good linebacker day two, round 2 or 3. So I think we'll probably go ahead and draft one, probably day 2 or 3. But yeah, linebacker is not our strong suit. Hopefully we can go ahead and get that fixed.
So 3 names I want you to look up. Jamin Davis from Kentucky, Jabril Cox from LSU, and Nick Bolton from Missouri, I think. I think he's at Missouri. Look up those three linebackers. Tell me what you think. For edge rusher, I know you probably saw and heard. So Micah Parsons' pro day was outstanding.
Mm,
His teammate Jason Owe, who's 6'6", 255, ran a faster 40 than him.
yeah.
So Michael Parsons' 40 was 4.39. Jason Owe was like 4.36, 4.37. And I
Mm,
think he'll be there in the last first round mock that I did. I had Jason Owe going to Tampa Bay and kind of mimicking the production of Jason Pierre-Paul, somebody who he can, learn from. Or if Tampa decides to move on from JPP because he is due $12 million this year, he can kind of replace him because you don't need Jason Owe to be your number one pass rusher because you brought back Shaquille Barrett.
right.
But if the Chiefs are looking at, pass rusher, somebody off the edge, Jason Owe in that late first round, that might be a good option. And again, you're
Definitely.
also not looking for him to be your primary edge rusher because you got Frank Clark on the other side. So you got somebody that in the event that Frank is drawing double teams, hopefully this young guy can win his one-on-one matchup enough to affect the quarterback, to affect the coverage and the protections where you then can get Frank, less double teams and more one-on-one.
Right.
Last question for the both of y'all. Of our three teams, who got the best record next year?
I mean, it.
Objectively.
I mean,
Objectively.
is it? I
Of
mean,
our three
is it
teams,
a
who got the
question?
best record next year?
Is it a true question? I mean,
It's
come
a
on.
it's
I
a
mean,
true question.
Listen, we're gonna
All
be
right. All right. Let's start this way. Who's gonna have the worst record?
whew,
probably y'all, cuz. Probably y'all, Marcus. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, you gonna disrespect me on my own show? What?
Respectfully. Respectfully. Probably, probably San Fran, man. Only because,
oh
like,
man,
I don't trust y'all quarterback, brother. Like, it's him. It's him, man.
like
Listen,
It's him, bro.
I would be saying the same thing. Well, I'll put it this way: you talking about the Eagles messing up, or hopefully they don't mess up. Y'all need not to mess up with whoever y'all drafted at quarterback. I swear to
It
God,
depends on what y'all
if
do.
y'all
It depends on what y'all do at number 3. There you
if
go.
y'all draft Mac Jones at quarterback, which is what I'm hearing, just that's it. There's no like. I hope that smoke screen, but I'm hearing that a lot. Mac Jones at 3, like that's just Jimmy Garoppolo, with a slower 40 time.
All
Like,
over again.
I don't see why he's even in the consideration, to be if it ain't Justin Fields, it better be Zach Wilson, depending on as far as how the board flops.
You better be
listen,
Justin Fields. Justin
listen.
Fields will fit better.
That's what I'm scared of.
Hmm.
And all of these reporters say they got inside sources and all that kind of stuff like that. But there are 49ers insiders who said, listen, y'all didn't even know that the 49ers wanted to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Y'all
Right.
didn't know that the 49ers wanted to draft Nick Bosa because the year Nick Bosa got drafted, everybody was saying, oh, it's going to be Quinnen Williams, Quinnen Williams, Quinnen Williams. Nobody knew last year that we were even thinking about trading DeForest Buckner and getting the number 13 pick from the Colts.
Right.
So I honestly
Mm-hmm.
do believe, as a fan, what Kyle and John want to do. The only people that know that is Kyle and John and their wives. Like
Yeah.
they're because of pillow talking at night. Those are
So,
the only 4 people that know what we want to do. But I hope it's not Mac Jones. I really hope it's not Mac. And it's nothing against Mac Jones, but I've seen it. Y'all seen it. It's Jimmy Garoppolo Jr.
That's all it
Is
is.
is Jimmy Garoppolo Jr. with he don't have quarterback face, so he's not Mr. GQ. He's 22 with a dad bod worse than some 60-year-olds I've seen, and he got 2 DUIs on his record. So listen, both his pro days were horrible. I don't like how the ball comes off his hands. They talk about him with the deep ball. Yeah, his deep ball looks good when Devontae Smith has a 15-yard cushion because he just blew past whatever corner he was playing against. And Jalen Waddle, who's faster than him, also is 20 yards past any defender. I don't care if a safety is playing the deep third. Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle is getting past them. But even in some of the highlights that they play for Mac Jones, you see a lot of them balls being underthrown. You just have great receivers making great catches. So
Right.
I don't want us to touch Mac Jones. And I agree with y'all. If we pick Mac Jones and don't make the right choice at quarterback at number 3, and even if we do, and Jimmy can't remain healthy to give that young quarterback at least a little bit of time to kind of get his feet underneath him, if we don't make the right decision, then we probably might have, the worst record amongst the 3 teams.
And you see, that's the thing, with Kyle Shanahan's like his dad. He has no patience whatsoever. None. If let Jimmy Garoppolo start week 1 and he throw 2 picks, 250 yards, he's yanking them.
He's out of there.
He's out of there. Especially after the Super Bowl. I don't mean to bring up the Super Bowl, to you, cuz, but after that, he has no patience with him, and I wouldn't have any patience with him either. I mean, so hopefully you guys go ahead and take Justin Fields, let Jimmy Garoppolo go ahead and start the season, and then mid-season go ahead and put the kid in, and then kind of go ahead and see where you at. If you go the opposite and you go ahead and do Mac Jones, then that's automatically 5. That's automatically 5-11, 6-10. You could just book it, for that. So that's just how it is now. Devin, with the Vikings, I mean, the Vikings are always so hard to gauge, because Kirk Cousins, I don't know how to go ahead and gauge him, because he has so many spectrums. He goes from great to good to average to sorry, all in this one little spectrum, and it can kind of go in any one of those levels at any time during a game. Like last year, he balled out. Balled out. I mean, there was a time for whereas he was leading the NFL in passing. And then you have times whereas it's that he looked like he couldn't play for a JV team. Like, I don't understand, Kirk Cousins. If he plays well and if he plays to his potential, especially with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, y'all should be straight.
Yeah, because he started off rocky this year, but then if you look at his stats now, he ended the season great. So it's like you don't know what Kirk's gonna show up, and that's what I hate. I hate that because I don't know who's gonna show up. I really don't.
Well, I mean, thankfully, I think with the Bears not handling their QB situation right,
oh god,
Andy Dalton's not it. So unless if y'all don't focus on the offensive line, and the Bears can beat y'all with defense and the pass rush, that might be it. But offensively, they're not going to scare y'all. So, with a division opponent, you never want to book 2 wins. But I feel like those 2 games may be the easiest for y'all to get. Same thing with Detroit. Detroit does have Jared Goff, but Jared Goff is coming into a new offense that he has to learn with a first-time head coach who's installing his system and his way of life and trying to build a new culture in Dan Campbell. Again, it's a division opponent. You never want to book 2 dubs, but though again, that might be another easy 2. So if you can go 4-0 in those 2 games and those 4 games against Chicago and Detroit and try to steal 1 from Green Bay, that's 5-1 in your division.
Yeah.
And then as long as y'all can take care of the rest of your schedule and keep some consistency, I could see y'all doing some good things next year. But again, I think more than what Kirk Cousins is going to do, because I don't think it's solely on Kirk. I think the defense got to show up too.
Yeah.
I think the defense definitely has to do something. And y'all could go for an edge rusher as well. Y'all had Yannick Ngakoue, but got rid of him. Y'all let go of Everson Griffin. So now it's just Daniil Hunter on the one side. Y'all might look to, add somebody opposite him, to kind of take a little bit of pressure off of him. So I think the defense is going to be a major key as well into making sure that Kirk gets as many opportunities that he can with the ball. Yeah. And then, see what he can do. Terrence, as far as the Chiefs, I don't want to say that the Bucs gave the NFL the blueprint on how to stop y'all, but every team on y'all schedule next year, that's the first game that they're going to look at. Now, will they be able to emulate it? I don't think every team will be able to emulate what Tampa did because of the personnel that they have on defense. And Todd Bowles, let's throw some respect Todd Bowles' way, because he schemed and he game planned a great game. And I know it was only one game, but it was the biggest one. And what he put together for that team in that game was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
He coached circles around Andy Reid.
Yes, he did. But also you have to look at that. Andy Reid is considered a play calling genius as well. So with all of this time that Andy has to sit with that tape, he's going to find creative ways to make sure that Pat has the protection that he needs so that he doesn't have another showing like he did in the Super Bowl. So that doesn't become a consistent pattern. And obviously also too, improving the offensive line. But like, what do you think a realistic outlook for y'all season could be? Because y'all still one of the top 5 teams in the NFL. Let's not get that twisted, as much as it pains me to just say that.
I mean, schedule-wise, we're looking at, 12-4, 13-3. As far as schedule-wise is concerned, our schedule really isn't that tough. We played the NFC East this year, so I'm not going to say that those are 4 wins, but let's be honest.
Listen, that's 4 dubs. That's 4 dubs.
That's 4 dubs.
Maybe the Giants.
Maybe the Giants might go ahead and give us a little bit of run, but
with the healthy Saquon, of course.
With a healthy Saquon, so that might be a little bit tougher. But Washington dub, Eagles, that's a blowout. Dallas,
I don't know if there's one team that can mimic the pass rush that Tampa did. You got to look at stopping Chase Young and Montez Sweat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
They some young killers over there.
They do. So that actually be a good game. I'm actually going to try to go to that game because that game is in Washington. So I'm going to try to go ahead and
listen, if you come up, let me know, because
no doubt.
One of the things that I wanted to do, and I mentioned on my one of my previous videos, is especially if they're having fans in the stadium, for the channel, I kind of want to do some vlogs actually going to games. Okay. So getting some footage of being at the game, some tailgates out there, actually going into the stadium, footage of the game, stuff like that. So that probably would be a good game to go to. So if you decide, that you're going to go to that, let me know. We can link up and we can ride out and go to that one. I think that would be dope.
It's either going to be that game or the Philly game, because we play Philly as well in Philly.
Oh, okay. So either one, let me know. Because I'll be happy to root for the Chiefs against the Eagles that game. I don't care. People get mad at me because I went to the Jets game and I had the Jets hat on. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother-in-law's team. So and they was playing the Colts. So I'm either I got to root for somebody. So I might as well root for the home team. And then I went down when the Saints beat the Eagles and they kind of jumped on me because I was rooting for the Saints. But I'm not rooting for Philly. So don't be mad at me because I'm rooting for teams that beat y'all. So I'm definitely gonna be rooting for the Chiefs. I want Patrick Mahomes to throw for 700 yards and 12 touchdowns that game. I want him to go off. I want him to make Darius Slay look like a little boy out there. So if you go to that one, I'm there for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, 12-4. Um,
Oh,
but I will.
you gotta add that extra game.
Yeah, I'll add the extra game to that. So,
So it
oh,
would
that's
be
right. That's right.
13-4.
It'll be 13-4. That's right, because it's 17 weeks.
Yup.
But the thing about it is that, hey, it's funny because the 17th game is against the Packers. So that's gonna be a
So
good game.
what's that? The State Farm Bowl or something like that?
So I mean, I guess they figured that they've been trying to get the State Farm Super Bowl for the past 2 years. They ain't get it, so they might as well
Right.
manufacture a game,
Yeah.
for Week 17.
Yup.
Yeah, I mean, so I figured, again, 12 to 13 wins. The only thing is that if we go ahead and solve the left tackle issue, I think we have a very real chance of going back to the Super Bowl. There's really not too many people in the AFC that scare me, except Buffalo semi scares me, and Baltimore semi scares me. Just because of as far as their defensive front, but not so much Baltimore anymore because we kind of own Baltimore the past couple of years. So Buffalo, they might go ahead and catch a slipping, but other than that, besides like the Colts might be a pretty good team with Carson Wentz. So other than that, I don't think that it's going to be that hard for us to get back to the Super Bowl. Now, when we're in the Super Bowl, who we play, it's a complete toss-up. If we play Tampa Bay again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I think we could definitely get back there.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get on up out of here. Again, this was Mose Knows Family Edition. Had my cousins on here, man. I greatly appreciate y'all. Let me tell y'all, first and foremost, I love y'all, man. I appreciate who y'all are as family, who y'all are in my life, the things that we've been through growing up, the things that we're learning and seeing now and sharing with each other, man. So again, love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all for taking the time out to jump on the show with me tonight. Any final thoughts, Dev? We'll start with you. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Listen, man, all I'm gonna say is don't be sleeping on us. You know what I'm saying? This is first of many episodes I'm gonna be featured on. I hope, my brother. I'm
For
just a phone.
sure.
Hey, you got my love and support always. Thanks for having me, bro. Real talk. I had a good time. I ain't never thought I can even talk to somebody for an hour and plus minutes. I really had a good time, bro. Real talk.
That's what's up.
I
Final thoughts,
appreciate it.
Terrence.
This is fantastic. I mean, Marcus, fantastic program. Again, you got my support forever, man. Whatever you need me for anything to come on, you let me know. I'm there. I love the program. I love, the whole premise about it. So it's awesome. I mean, one thing I will say, before we leave, final thought, with the whole Trent Williams trade, that is the first time that the 49ers have beaten us in anything over the past 10 years. So
What a way to end
that's,
the show. That was a good one.
so that's the first time y'all beat us in anything in the past 10 plus years. So I applaud y'all. Y'all did y'all thing. That might be the last win y'all to get on this for a while. It might be another 10 years.
I'm glad this is being recorded. I'm glad this is being recorded because when we get that dub, and you better not let it be in the Super Bowl. If we get that dub, I'm gonna play this back, and we gonna see. All right.
I'll be the first one on here, man. If that happens, I'll be the first one on there to say, you know what, I said it and I was wrong. I'll be the first one.
All right, y'all. We're gonna get up out of here, man. For everybody who tuned in, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Again, you will see these faces again. I actually am gonna have Terrence and Devin on. So for draft night at the end of April, for the first night for round one, my plan is to have one fan or two fans from every team in the first round talking about the selection, talking about the draft, and then once the pick is announced, have that person give me their reaction to the pick, whether they liked it or didn't like it, and then move on to the next fan. So you will see Devin when the Vikings are on the clock. You will see Terrence when the Chiefs are on the clock. So, get used to these spaces again. This is family. And as I say in my videos, you family, and there's nothing you can do about it. But again, love and appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all next time.
All
Peace.
right.
Y'all be
Love you
safe.
guys.
All right.